Sure there's some music going. Something. Hey Gio. Let's see if I can add you in here. Hey Rio. Thank you for joining, bro. Rio said play something. Hold on one second. I gotta get my co-host in here. I, I hit invite. It says invited, Gio. Let me know if you see a notification that says accept to join. Okay, it says invited. Yo, yo. Oh, it says Geo is unable to join. Okay, one second. Accept. Let's see if that lets you in. There you
What up, what up?
go. Mr. Derice.
What's going on? What's going on?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you tonight. I see we got a couple of fellas in the house already, so thank y'all for
There you go.
joining. It's a weeknight, middle of the summer. I'm glad I didn't pick a night that the finals was on,
Smart,
like, cause
smart. If it was
it
tomorrow, we
would
would
have been a
have.
wrap. um, but I want to first, of course, thank you for being open to having the conversation. It is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. But this month, since I'm not one of the fellas, I will be featuring amazing men like yourself. We'll be talking about all things purpose, self improvement, mental health, and so it just felt right to ping you and get you on board. And for those who don't know Gio, let me just do a quick intro. So Gio is like 7-time author. I have one of his books. It's flagged and all that. I got notes and all that in there. So I'll share a couple of Gio's gems. Gio is an entrepreneur. He founded and started a company called First Book Done that helped me to publish my first baby, put myself
Right.
first, that one, amongst so many other authors. So super proud of that. Gio is also a motivational speaker. So, you can see him in corporate settings, colleges, like so many different environments, sharing his wisdom, sharing his services, coaching people through different processes within life, not just about writing a book. And then you got other things going on, Gio. Like
Yeah, like
you.
I'm a whole
Uh,
husband, a whole dad, you know?
I, I don't even. I can't. Right? Like I can't compete with that. You got a whole cape on over there, so I give you so many props because I don't know how you do it. So we're gonna talk about
Got
that. We're gonna get into like how you balance and all that other stuff. But I have to ask you, Gio, first things first. One of the major things that I always push is for people to find their purpose.
hmm
Do you feel like you are walking in your purpose?
Yes, I definitely feel like I am. I feel like that becomes clearer every time I walk, right? So
Mm.
the idea of like walking into your purpose, I'm like, okay, I get a little bit more now than what I got or understood the day before, right?
Hmm.
So I think the biggest things, but I definitely feel like I'm walking in my purpose.
That's amazing. So tell me this. Where were you? What were you doing when you came to the reality or realization, right? Like, oh my God, like I think this is what I was born to
Yeah.
do. Like this is my
Uh,
purpose.
Um. I feel like you do it first and you don't realize you're doing it, and then somebody else confirms something that you were doing, and you're like, oh, so that's what it is, right? Like, it wasn't like I got an email that says your purpose is, and it tells me the starting date, and be like, all right,
Yeah.
now you do it for real. So, but I do specifically remember like being one time in church. And the moments where the pastor be telling you like go and meet your neighbor and greet somebody. Well, I was being disobedient. I ain't go beat nobody. I stayed in my seat. Somebody came, and this, and it speaks to the power of purpose, right? Because even when you don't want to participate, it comes after you.
Yes.
So someone came up to me and was like, listen, you're going to speak to the next generation. You're going to tell them keep their pants up. You're going to tell them how to move correctly and stuff like that. And I was just so blown away because this person didn't know me from a hole in the wall, right? You didn't know what I was doing. You didn't know where I was in limbo. And in that moment, I was trying to decide if I was going to forego the purpose of acting people. I'm like, oh, man, let me just go get a job because this stuff is not, moving fast enough, or the validation is not coming fast enough. And just hearing somebody who completely, like I said, had no connection points other than, and again, I resisted the opportunity because I didn't even want to participate. I was like, yo, somebody gonna go greet your neighbor. Someone gonna have to go across town to
out of their way to get to you.
Yeah,
You were avoiding it.
But that's the beauty of like how God works, where He could get you, even if you didn't want to get got. So that's one of the moments where I really remembered, and I think that's what I hold on to for those moments where I'm like, the purpose doesn't feel sexy, or the purpose doesn't feel as though it's working. I remember that moment, and I'm like, okay, come on, like that's not random. So that was one of those situations where I'm like, oh, okay, that's where I was. That's what I was doing. This is what was the temperature at that time. But yeah, that was it.
So you got a disobedient spirit that you're fighting, and a gift that you sitting on in that back pocket, right? So what made you align? Like, do you feel like God kept putting you in these situations where it's like this your door? It can't be my door. Like, so
Yeah.
like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
Like, was it opportunities start to align, or was it like I became uncomfortable in everything else I tried, so I had no choice? Like, what helped you to align to your purpose?
Now, that's a great question. I call it, as I was thinking about it, I was like, God graced me and He placed me.
Ooh.
Right?
That ain't in here, Gio. That's not in the gym.
That's a new one.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
But
wow. Okay, so elaborate
so
on that.
when I say grace, it's like, I was put in positions and places where the qualifications didn't match the responsibilities of the job itself, right? So whether it was being exposed to marketing and entrepreneurship without having any MBA, any degree or anything like that, that would say, oh, this is exactly what you should be doing. That's what I mean by grace. Grace is like the opportunities I was given that I didn't actually earn, right? So God put me in those places. Now, the other part of that is you have to remember He placed you there because you're going to feel inadequate. You're going to feel like you don't belong. So you're going to want to run back to base. You're going to be like, no, I don't belong here. And you got to remember who put you there, because that's the only way you're going to be able to stay. Is to be able to understand, like, listen, there's some things there. And then when you spend time there, you start to realize, oh, God knows me better than I know myself. And He knew that those were the environments that I would need to be in to have those untapped potentials and abilities actually come out, right? So while I may have never went to school for business, I was thrown into the fire of a business where I had to get the MBA on the fly, like in the moment. And sometimes those are the best lessons that you could get. So again, like I said, a lot of people might feel like, oh, I got imposter syndromes. Okay, yeah, but that's the grace part. the imposter syndrome will have you thinking like, man, I don't have the qualifications, right? I mean, I love the saying that a lot of pastors say where they're like, you may not feel you may not feel equipped, but God qualifies the one that He calls, right? So
100%.
I'm like, okay, good. Let me do that. But the challenge of it, Nikki, is like this. You want to take so much control. Like the minute you find out what your purpose is, you want to start driving the car. And the problem is you didn't give it, like the car, the title of the car is in God's name, but I want to drive it. So then what happens, you start to get frustrated and you're like prematurely, you driving a little too early. Like you're on a learner's permit, but you think you got a license. And so we make some mistakes. And again, God gives us grace to allow us to make mistakes. And even in those stubborn moments, still allow us to still find where we need to be and where we need to go.
Oh, yes, yes. And I think, even sometimes as much as we fight it, right? He places people in your path to bless you. So it's nothing is coincidence, right? So even when you don't feel equipped, even when you're questioning your calling, right? To align is to take on those opportunities that are given to you, right? And you use your gift. Everything that you need is already within you. God has planted that seed. And so using the gift is to say, thank you. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your gift. How can I use this gift to serve other people or to serve a greater purpose, right? Which should bring people closer to God, which should bring people to their gifts, which should bring people together. So I think that is absolutely amazing that you were like, listen, the doors just started opening. And so so that's amazing, because I always say like a client that's just God showing you like there are people out here who believe in you just like I do, right? People can spend their money anywhere doing anything.
Right.
I sent them to you.
Yeah.
Continue to use your gift, right? So that's amazing. That's amazing. So Gio, we talked a little bit about all the hats you wear, right? So dad, husband, entrepreneur, author, speaker. But like let's say remove those titles, right? And we just get to Gio the human being. Tell me, like, how do you find balance within all those titles? And then how do you find time to just be an individual?
Yeah, shucks. I mean, I think that the whenever I hear that, like, I haven't found a way to get the balance part right. Like I think, I think that the society of like you could do everything that you want is a half truth. Like you can, but you can't get it all at the same time, right? And I think that where my frustration has come from is trying to be all the different hats at the same time. So it's like I got like a red hat, a blue hat, a white hat, a purple hat, whatever. They don't look silly when you put them on individually. They look silly when you put them on top of each other.
You one hat.
Yeah, one hat.
One hat.
And just take it off, right? So, but it's tough because it's like when you're working, do you not think about your son or your daughter or your wife? Yeah, but the best way to honor them is for you to really put the hat that you have on and do the work that was for that specific situation. And it's just so hard to do because we think we're supposed to balance it all, like, and you're just gonna get more upset, like, to realize, I feel so stressed. Like, think about this. Whenever I hear the word balance, the one thing I think about is like a clown trying to ride that unicycle on like a very thin line.
Yes.
Never see them not look like they stressed out. Like it's like they're so tense. And I'm like, if that's what balance is, I don't want it. I need to be on solid ground. Like, I don't like being on this thing where I gotta make sure and everything gotta fall in place and I'm holding plates and like no, let's literally just wear that one hat and remove the guilt that you feel from doing that, right? Because when you're like, oh, I'm a mom, but now we talk about men too, but I'm just saying in general. Let's just say mom or whatever role you have. A mom might feel guilty trying to build a business when their son's struggling in school. Well, I got a mom, but it's like, yeah, but like you were created, like God didn't just make you a mom And somebody said something to me, one of my clients, which is interesting. My clients told me this. She told me, because I was feeling guilty about like managing fatherhood and entrepreneurship. And she was like, Gio, you got to understand that um, you being a father is important. Don't get it twisted. That's very important. But you can't do God's job. You're like he gave you an opportunity to be a vessel
Mm-hmm.
to that child, but you're not supposed to be God to the child. That's
Mm.
where you start to like whenever you start to
Right.
misdiagnose your role. You know what I'm saying? Like you an extra, but you think you're the main. You acting like a main character.
Oh, say it again. You a
Right? Like,
what? But you acting like a what?
yeah, you an extra, but you acting like a main character, and it's like that you gotta know. And again, the obedience part really kicks in. If I've told you, and you even see this in church where people be like, "Oh, well, God put on my spirit to go and say the word." No. God is God's order. So you
Yeah.
talk like you can't just come and say, "Yo, you know what? God put it on my heart for me to give the sermon today."
No, he didn't.
No,
I'm just kidding.
he didn't do that. He didn't do that. That wasn't him. That wasn't him. But it's important to just like I said, honor the hat that you should be wearing. Understand that God wants excellence, and the people you're exposed to, they need to see what excellence look like. So you putting on two hats and stuff like that, it's not necessarily going to go ahead and do that. And then to the point about like what you said with the being the individual, I think that those are moments we have to be okay taking.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to be selfish. Like I just saw a guy in my building. He has two kids.
Mm-hmm.
He's a physical therapist. He's running an event space, and I just saw him in the parking lot in the car, windows tinted, and he on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there's no kids in the car. The wife and the kids are
Mm-hmm.
upstairs, but he needed that moment.
And you gotta
He
take it.
he needed to be that individual. And I was gonna knock on the window and say, "Yo, what's good?" But in that moment, I was like, "Oh, I know what he's doing. He's being an individual."
Yes.
I'm talking about the seat, Nikki. The seat was cocked back. I saw him. I
Yeah.
saw the phone. I only saw the phone light, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw the finger scrolling with no stress. Like it was, when you scroll like you're not in a
Mm-hmm.
rush. Like he was like nicely swiping up and down. I'm like, nah, he having a moment.
Yeah,
And
leave that man alone.
yeah, we need to let those moments be.
I like that because so often we forget about ourselves because we have a routine, we have a schedule, we have people pulling at us, right? But we can only be as good to others as we are to ourselves. You can't be a good dad, you can't be a good husband if you don't even have what you need to sustain. Like, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't be anybody's vessel for anything if you are burnt out, miserable, depressed, and you don't have a moment to yourself, even if that's in the shower. Sometimes kids will not come in,
Yeah,
pull
yeah,
the door back, like, hold on, I can't even bathe.
yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah,
telling me?
yeah.
So it's necessary, right? And I think it is specifically necessary for men because you all carry the weight of protector, provider, like all these strong roles are kind of like forced upon you, whether you want it or not. It happens from a very young age. And so to have those, titles or expectations already built in, that's a pressure to meet an expectation or to meet the vision that people have for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does take a moment for you to take a breath, regain your footing, or gain the wisdom, right? If I want to meet that expectation, I got to pour into my knowledge bank, right?
Right.
I got to provide, right? So I have to learn a skill to allow me to do that or build from the ground up. And that takes
Mm-hmm.
patience and time, and it takes tenacity, right? Like, so there's so many different things that it takes from you as an individual to show up for other people. And I think it's important, like you said, to just know that it's not as important for you to balance 19 things in the air at the same time as it is to make the time for the things in the appropriate time.
Right.
If you can steal away and take an hour to yourself or take yourself to pizza or movies or something like that, treat yourself and don't feel guilty about that, because you are a human being too, and you deserve that time, that individual time to just charge your internal battery,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, agreed. Well said.
Good, good. Okay. So tell me, how are you working on becoming a better Geo? Like, I know you talked about, kind of not putting that pressure on yourself to, like, you know, balance things on the unicycle like the clown in a circus,
Mhm.
right? So in an effort to balance things but also pour into yourself, what are you doing to self-improve or to become a better version of
Yeah,
yourself?
no, good question. Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy is a big one. Therapy is like, I've been in therapy. I think I've probably like September. I think it's gonna make like 3 or 4 years
Okay.
that I've been doing therapy, and it really didn't come from it wasn't a whole, like we met with we was meeting with another couple,
Mm-hmm.
a married couple, and we was talking, and I just heard my friend say, "Yo, I do therapy." I'm like, "For real?" I like yeah, like let me get that info. Let me just see what does that entail,
Yeah.
and in doing it, I really wanted to do something that was preventative. So it wasn't like, oh, I got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't take care of myself, I will
Mm-hmm.
going to have one, right? So I did therapy, and it's been so amazing. Every single week, I meet with my therapist, and literally, I'll meet on a Monday for an hour, and then the rest of the week I'm having conversations on whatever was talked about in that therapy session
Mm-hmm.
with friends and colleagues to really fully understand what I just learned about myself. And think about this, like, especially for men, like you, you might feel like no one want to hear you. You now have somebody on the other end who has to,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, they have to hear you, and hopefully you get a good one. But like, to be able to like sit down and the subject is me for an hour, right? And unashamed. Like, I'm not looked at, my shortcomings are not looked at as problems. They're looked at as opportunities. They're looked at as problems, but problems that are solvable,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Therapy is a big one. I know there's a stigma. I don't want somebody to know I'm weak, or I don't want to know somebody to know that I'm lacking.
Mm-hmm.
But to stay lacking is worse than for someone to know I'm lacking,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
to be like, oh well, I don't have, like, no, tell me my breath stink. Tell me my shoe is untied. Like, don't
Right.
go and walk around and just with this deficiency or something, and not go ahead and address it. So
Yeah.
therapy has allowed me to do that. And then I've used AI as well to
Mm.
like, oh my gosh,
Do tell. Like, so
Nikki.
so you're not using it in like I'm a high school student trying to write this essay and
Oh
I want
no,
to like, you're
no,
not using it in that
that's
manner.
no,
How are
no,
you
no,
using
no.
AI that is sharpening your
Yeah,
tools? Like your
I'm putting in my journals.
uh-huh.
Um, I'm asking it to tell me what is some blind spots that I have.
Mm.
I'm asking it to analyze what I've been telling you the last 3 months, for it to
Mm.
go and spit back to me. Because sometimes we don't realize, like, when you speak, you don't necessarily hear what you said. So
Mm-mm.
I need the AI. AI tells me, Jill, you've been circling around the block for a minute on this. I don't realize that until it says, Gio, you've been circling around the block on this for a minute, right? That's when I start to realize, wow, this procrastination there's something here that I need to uncover.
Mm-hmm.
And I go and use ChatGPT. I use Claude. I upgraded it to pay. I pay for both of them, like
Okay.
the month, like I like to make sure.
Premium.
And yeah, the premium. I'm like, this, I need first class when I'm talking about me. Like, we're talking about what I'm going through, what I'm processing. I literally take my notes from therapy and I just plug it in and I say, what does this word mean? What does this mean about me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's have a higher level of self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think we know so many things about other people, and we really don't know ourselves in a very intimate way, right? Like, you don't know. They ask you what's your favorite color, you go and your first answer is What you mean Like, I'm asking you what's your favorite color, you giving me like there's a wrong
Yeah.
answer. Like, what's your color? What's your
It's
color? Right?
about you.
Yeah,
That should be an
but
easy answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we keep walking around and everybody else has the rubric and we don't have it. And then you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm asking you for my score. Hey, Nikki, I passed. Like, did I pass? Am I Geo today? And it's like, what are you like? What are you talking about? So I think that's the therapy has helped me, and my therapist was the one who told me that first. Like, he was like, Geo, why don't you love yourself? I was like, what you talking about? I love myself. I take a shower, I brush my teeth. Like, what do you mean? Like, I buy myself sneakers, and he's like, no. He said, when I told you, and I'll be transparent. I want everybody to, like, because I feel like when we don't normalize these conversations, we just be acting that awkward. So he was like, I told you might have ADHD, and I told you to go to a psychiatrist to find out. It's been 6 months. You have not even made an appointment. I was like, no, I tried to make the appointment, but my insurance said, or they gave me a list of people who don't take my insurance. He said, if somebody else went to go and needed a solution, and at the first time they tried to get it, they didn't get it, wouldn't you have pushed them to really go and get the thing that they needed? I said, of course. He said, so why you stopped at the first level when it didn't work? He said, you don't love yourself enough. You don't think you matter enough to find the solution. And I was like, and I was like, no, he wrong. Like, what you talking about? Like, he's wrong, right? But
instantly went to he wrong.
Instantly. He been right for like the last 3 years, but when he said that one, I said, you know what? At some point, I knew that you were gonna get a little air on these tires. Like, at some point, I knew you were gonna.
I knew you weren't as good as I thought you were.
No, you 99.9%. Finally found one that you was off on, right? But when he said,
wild.
He doubled down on it, and he was like, no, I'm gonna push back. He said, if you really cared about yourself, you make the appointment. And I've made the appointments and stuff like that, and it's been a game changer. Like, I take medication for anxiety, and I'm like, oh snap! Like, the weight of the world don't feel the same, right? Like, the problems have not changed, but am I here? You see
yes,
me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So the way you carry it, right? So if you put 100 pounds on your back versus you put it on your front, it's going to be completely different, right? Like, it's called a backpack for a reason. It's not called a front pack, right? The weight could be the same, but if I place it on my back, I carry it a little bit different than how I carry it in the front. So kudos to my wife for carrying our daughter in the front for, the time frame that she did it.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. It ain't about us. It's about y'all tonight. But yeah. Give her flowers. Congratulations, Mama. Yeah. But good question. We're gonna get to your questions in the comments too, bro. We'll get to them at the very end.
Yeah, no. So again, like I said, so I've done the stuff. I've seen the things change because I finally said, you know what? What if the person's right? What if my therapist is correct? What if my therapist has the what he's saying has some kind of merit to it? So, and I said I deserved it. Like, that's the thing that changed it for me. I said I deserve to find out.
Yeah.
Doing so, it's really, really shifted my perspective. I see the world differently. I show up differently. Doesn't mean I show up that way every day, but I have an understanding now that I didn't have before.
Yeah. And I mean, I look at it as, first of all, thank you for your transparency, because so many people run from knowing the answer and they don't see that as a form of self-love. Like, you got to understand, like, your eyes protrude outward. We look outward. So when people are telling us what they see, or they're giving us, like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Like, you basically telling them they don't see what they're looking at. They're not experiencing what they just went through with you. And then you're not acknowledging that you have blind spots. Everybody does. That is normal. And so, like you said, you may be talking and you couldn't tell somebody what you just said 2 hours later. Like, it's gonna be a scrambled paraphrase version, but you couldn't repeat the same, gems word for word every single time. And so I think there is power in knowing that self-love is allowing yourself to become your best self. So what helps you thrive is you allowing yourself to be cared for, loved, nurtured. If it requires a different setting, a different job, a different medication, that's what you need to be well. That's what you need to thrive. And so who cares what the stigma is? People take medication for all kind of stuff. Stuff,
100%.
stuff they doing in the bedroom that ain't working. They don't be ashamed of that. They take medication for headaches, and they don't be ashamed of that. So what you taking, so what you're taking to be well or to be your best self when you show up, man, like that's a
Yeah,
win. That's a win because now you're saying I don't stand in my own way. I don't. Like I'm going to seek the answers. I'm going to seek a solution. And then I love myself enough to whatever it takes for me to be better, I'm going to do it. Just like if I had diabetes, I'm going to cut back on sugar. If I got to love myself enough to cut back on all my favorite things so I can live, that's what I'm going to do. So I look at therapy the same way. So I'm really happy you shared that because there may be a man in the comments, right, that's like, I don't know, because I think they're going to tell me X, Y, and Z. And so what if they do?
mm-hmm.
So what if they do? That's between you and your therapist. Nobody has to know. If it matters to you that much that someone else knows what y'all talk about, keep it to
Right.
yourself. Nobody has to
Yeah.
know. They don't know when you do other stuff. So they don't need to know that either. That's your personal journey, right? So I look at it like that.
No,
Like
that's
let it be
good.
your personal journey. And if you feel compelled to share it or encourage another man to go and seek, someone they trust, someone they value, or that can help them along their journey, then share it. But in the meantime, while you still figuring out, it's okay to keep that to yourself.
Right.
If you feel comfortable. Luckily for you, you got a wife that is like encouraging and supportive, all the things, and you ain't missing a beat.
Right. No, it's good. It's good.
That's good. That's good. So why do you think that, let's just say self-improvement, because I won't say therapy because there's so many ways you can improve.
Yep.
Why do you think self-improvement in 2025 is so important?
That's a good question. I think it's so important now because, like, I feel like everything is going by so fast now
Mm-hmm.
that we're being pushed agendas and are being told that they matter. And
Mm.
so if we don't put the ones that are to benefit ourselves, like self-improvement, then it just keeps getting pushed down further and further to the point where like you don't see it anymore. So we have to fight that urge and resistance that doesn't care. It's very unapologetic in terms of, yo, Nikki, you got to worry about this. Yo, Gio, this is what's important. Like, you got to get, 50, 30, 20 financial, whatever this. And like they tell you all these rules. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
every day a new rule's been created.
Yes.
So the only common denominator is while all those things are changing, I still have to be Geo and respond to those things. And so if I'm not doing self-improvement, then what happens is those things then become greater than I am. Where I feel like self-improvement, if I get greater, it's like that whole quote that says a rising tide raises all the ships.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, okay, well, I'm the tide and I need to be rising so that my family is rising, my community is rising, all those things. And also don't get it twisted. Like I'm rising too. I'm not saying, hey, go ahead and fall on the sword and let everybody step on your shoulders while you be the ladder. Like, no, I'm telling you, get up there too. Like, and do that. But self-improvement is so, so important now because we just have so many distractions. There's so many things that we're thinking about that if we're not intentional about something like that, that just seems like we can get away with not addressing it
Mm-hmm.
until we can't, right? Like because your ignorance or your ignoring of it will compound.
Yes.
And then at some point when you have to respond to it, you'll say it defeated me, but the defeat started one day at a time. It didn't start at that moment that you felt the weight of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a build up, right? And like you said, I think it's one of your gems in your book was like um fix the leaky roof while it's
You know
sunny.
what, Nikki? You did read the book. You did
Right.
see? You
So
did.
I think that's what I
That.
don't quote me, but I think it's like fix the leaky roof while it's
Yeah.
sunny. And so it is like you said, that self-improvement is life is going to come at you. You know that. And to your analogy, right, with ships, that's friendships, relationships, like any of that, right? If you want those things to become better, healthier, happier, more fulfilling, you got to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
I think so many people feel like, oh, I ain't go through nothing when I had a good childhood. I had a good, like, I had the time of my life in college. That doesn't mean you don't carry with you generational traumas. That doesn't mean that because you grew up unscathed, right, from any major tragedy, that you still don't have deficiencies, right? Attachment issues or fears that are like stifling you from achieving things that you want to do, or just because you didn't go through nothing, you don't know how to go through nothing now.
That's
you
there you
you
go.
you shut down. Like,
Yes.
everything was given to you, everything was solved for you. You didn't have to think. So now that you do, you can't think yourself out of a maze. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, that's
I,
good.
yeah, so I think that's just one of those things that we have to be mindful of, is that even if you had like a really healthy upbringing, healthy relationships in the past, like you're going through healthy situations now, like life couldn't be better. It's nothing wrong with going to seek additional guidance on blind spots, or you know what, I've always been curious about these things. Like, that curiosity leads you to additional shadow work, additional healing, definitely self-improvement, and more self-awareness. The more self-aware you are, oh my God, it's so
Yeah,
much
that's
power in that.
key.
Yeah, it's so
So,
much power in that. And you become almost like a sponge to new things when you're more self-aware. It's like instant growth. Like, you're seeking information, you're seeking more insight. So I definitely agree with you. I encourage, everybody, within these times, things are changing swiftly. Find what works for you to try to be better every single day. Like, whatever that looks like, whether that's, I'm going to seek a leadership quote. I'm gonna read two pages out of this book every day until I'm done, or whatever that looks like. Continue to pour into yourself, learn more, be a student of life. That's in my book, in case y'all haven't read it.
yeah.
But be a student, be a student continuously, and continue to self improve. Okay, so I have one last question for you,
Mhm.
Gio. Um, what advice would you give to another man that may be watching, who is maybe not as comfortable with their mental health, or discussing their areas of opportunity? What advice would you give them as we're facing Men's Mental Health
Yeah,
Awareness Month?
I would say like this: you're the most interesting person you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I
And
like that.
you really have to believe that, like, because when something is interesting, we invest.
Mm-hmm.
We just keep thinking the other thing is interesting. The thing I'm pursuing is more interesting. The person I'm with is more interesting. And it's like, yeah, but that's why you're pouring into those things. But
Mm-hmm.
if you can get the reframe of saying, you're like, I'm not interesting. Like, I'm worthy of researching. I'm worthy of navigating. I'm worthy of exploring, making discoveries.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the fact that I'm interesting, I need to support myself. Like, things that are valuable, we lock
Mm-hmm.
them and we make sure that they're being supervised,
Yes.
right? Like, when you care, you're like, yo, man, my watch, like the watch, you fellas, the sneakers that you really like, it's still going to box.
Mm-hmm.
It go in the box. The little paper that came with it to make sure that they don't crease. You still put it in there, like, right. So when you care about something, you show a certain level of appreciation for it, and you devote a certain energy towards it. So, my thing and my advice for men, especially mental, with men mental health awareness month, is like, like, go on a date with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Start dating you, to like really start to find out what is the things that you like, what are the things that you dislike. um Find out when you're off. Like, that's the challenge I would give to everybody today, like, who's
Mm-hmm.
watching replay. What's the thing? How do you know when you're off? Like, for me, if I'm talking to my friends and I don't tell you within about 2 to 3 weeks what book I read or a quote from something,
Mm-hmm.
Gio ain't good. Because when Gio's good, he reading.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not reading, I am overwhelmed by something that's like I've put something else, like my priorities are out of order, because that's so important for me. Like I love pouring into people. I love to be on the like sharp, because I never know when I have to cut.
Mm-hmm.
Always trying to sharpen and stay sharp. So if I'm not reading, I, that's like a devalue to myself, because I don't like being dull in any area of my life if I could help it, right? So if I'm not reading something, like I'm in trouble. Like Gio not all
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
he ain't telling
Yeah.
me no quotes in a minute. Like he ain't telling me what book he reading. Like and if I tell you I'm reading more than one book, you know I'm good. Like I like if I'm reading telling you about more than one book at the same time, or
That's good.
he good. Like because again, it just means that I have the capacity to take in more.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
capacity, like here, like when I'm not good, Nikki, like I feel like a video game like Tetris, where
Mm-hmm.
you're at the top and it don't matter which thing you get, you're gonna lose.
That's a good picture painted.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's how I feel. So I'm desperate. I'm like, I need to get that one thing that would allow me to go and almost feel like a start over, almost feel like I could take a deep breath. So
Mm-hmm.
find out like what is like what's your off?
Yeah. That's you got to know yourself so well for that, right? And I question sometimes if because our mental is so clouded, do you even know that, right? Can you even say, damn, like last 3 days I had one meal. Like do you even see that, or is it so normal for you to not really take care of yourself and just fall asleep on the sofa because you're so tired and just that's your norm, right? But
You
you're
know what I'm
not
saying?
recognizing like the unhealthy habits or the healthy ones. Like when you're on point and you taking care of yourself and you're your happiest, what are you doing? And then when you aren't, do you recognize that? And I think that I recognize that so much in like friends or family or whatever, and I'm like, dang, you don't seem the same. Like, what's happening with you? And sometimes it is that tight lip where they won't share, or sometimes it is that outpouring, and I'm like, all I can do is listen, right? Because I don't know what it is to be in your shoes. I know that sometimes the opportunity to share with me may be for me to just listen, not solve, not give ideas, not encourage or coach.
Right.
Because sometimes I go into coach mode. And that's not always wanted, right? Like I've learned that even from a past relationship, like I got kind of like snapped at for that, like, stop coaching me. And I was like, oh. And he's like, I just want you to
Yeah,
listen.
yeah,
And I'm like, I'm trying to
yeah.
be encouraging, but I guess, we're not seeing eye to eye. I'm not getting what you need. So let me be quiet. But I think that would be where what you said is so encouraging, right? Is to get to know yourself so well that you can assess and monitor and check in on, I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not myself.
Yeah, yeah,
I need an outlet, whether that is professional help, whether that's time with the fellas, whether that is time away from home. Like take a little, day trip yourself. Like, drive to the nearest town, like, sight
yeah.
whatever that looks like to just get a break from the norm sometimes is truly, truly helpful.
100%.
So good. How do you handle and deal with adversity? Okay, that's for you, Gio, because
How do you handle? What's the question?
so it's the question is, how do you deal with adversity?
I look. I it's a frame for me, right? So when I look at adversity, and I'll be honest, like at first, I react like anybody would react. Like, why are you picking on me for? Right? Like that's the first part, and then eventually, and this is something I've been working on lately.
Mm-hmm.
It's seeing it as an invitation for me to meet a different version of me that I haven't met yet.
Mm.
And if I look at it as an invitation, then it has a gift for me on the other side. But I'll be honest, that's not how I always saw it. Like
Yeah.
that's like 2025. What month we in? That's like 2025 31st Geo. Like that's like,
Right.
but that's the thing that I'm noticing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in my growth, and now I'm realizing that my priority or my most the highest value for me was comfort and it should be, and I didn't want that to be the case. I was like, I want to be comfortable, but not have it be more important than growth. And now that I know that, I could see adversity as an opportunity versus it being like an objection or something that's supposed to stop me from my purpose.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And I think sometimes if you approach it in the way of like, this is going to help me be introduced to a new level or a new part of myself, then that's a reframe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you saw, so there's an interview that Keke Palmer did. Love her. She a little crazy, but I love her. And she said, they were talking about like just the difficulty sometimes and competitiveness in Hollywood. And she said, I have just learned the art of reframing things. So I may not have gotten the role, but I look at it as, you don't get to have me in your movie. Like I'm no longer a star that's available for your lineup, right? Like, so I don't look at it as what I didn't get. I look at it as what you lost. Like, this ain't your opportunity or, whatever. And so I think about things from that respect too, when we think about growth or finding purpose or, even our mental health is like, sometimes in life you got to reframe it. Sometimes you have to zoom out. It ain't a bad life, it's a bad day. What else is going on around you?
Yeah, that's
What
right.
other opportunities ahead of you? What else is on this side? What else? Because if you're going to look at what that milk that's spilled in front of you, forget you got a whole jug right there. You worry about this one cup. You got a jug right there in that refrigerator that you've been blessed with. So reframe it. Zoom out sometimes and stop seeing the little teeny tiny things that are in your way. It's like David and Goliath. If you are the giant, you know that those obstacles in front of you can be smashed, conquered, jumped over, whatever the case may be, because everything that's placed in your path, you were created to handle it. So we have to just get in the habit of reframing, right? And I just want to read one last gem before I let you go.
Go ahead.
What was meant to break you is often the thing that makes you. So this is from Geo's Gems, y'all. Please, if you don't already follow Geo, I will have him tagged. For those of you who are playing this back, or even those who joined us tonight, I will have a resource for finding a therapist tagged as well. It's a partnership with Growth Therapy. And within Growth Therapy, they do accept insurance, or you can find therapists who are private, pay out of pocket. Within Grow, you can narrow down your ideal therapist from gender, religion, age, background, experience, sexual orientation, like all the things, right? And there's no commitment to stick to one. So if you meet with one that's not your flavor, you can go back to that list and save your preferences, right? And you can pick someone else.
Good.
Okay. And so I want everybody to just feel empowered. Like Gio was super transparent, courageous. He talked about everything that's on his plate. It sounded like it's overflowing half the time, but you wouldn't know based on how Gio shows up, how much he gets done. And I want that for everybody. Okay. Don't let this month be the only month you focus on your mental health. Continue to do those check-ins with yourself. Get to know yourself so you know when things are good and when they aren't. And when they aren't, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. Just remember, things that were sent what you think to break you, it is actually to make you. So thank you, Gio.
Thank
I will
you.
also tag Gio's page so you all can take a look at his books. You can take a look at some of his posts and all the work that he's doing. If you are an up and coming author, I encourage you to get with my book doula here, Gio. He helped me to birth mine. So I just want to say thank y'all for joining. Thank you so much, Gio, for being our guest. And we'll see y'all on the next episode, which will be this coming Monday.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki.
All right. Thank you, Gio. Right. Have a good night.
Later.
Bye, y'all.